Well, first two worsts figure out which is worst. And then the other two worsts figure out which is worst. And then the top two worsts fight it out until eventually you get the WORSTEST Worstest.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And welcome to Worstest. Today's topic is worst commercial.
Wah, wah.
The commercial is an interesting thing. We think of it as something that is a throwaway, an annoyance. We want to watch our favorite show. But no, there's a commercial. But commercials have become sometimes more entertaining, more heartfelt than many of the TV programs that we watch. I remember seeing a Simpsons many years ago where instead of having sing-alongs or favorite family song, they were singing commercial jingles. Why did that hit me so hard? Because when I was young, in our little above-ground pool, we would make little...
Oh, the whirlpools.
The whirlpool, yes.
are the best.
The whirlpool.
And try to swim
of
against
course.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while we did that, we literally were singing the Stuck on Band-Aid song. It's also
I'm stuck on Band-Aids because Band-Aids stuck on me.
I know, it's very, very sadly, I have the recollection of so many commercial jingles
many.
from when I was like 7 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
So many. By Menon.
Yeah.
It's incredible, right? I mean, yeah. 'cause
It's so
you
true.
watch them over and over again, watching Saturday morning cartoons or football games.
100%.
And it's just in your head because they wrote those jingles just to be catchy. And then my theory, when commercials got funny, when they wanted to grab your attention with humor or something different, it might have been the Energizer Rabbit. When the Energizer Rabbit interrupted the next commercial, the first time I ever saw that, it was the Energizer Bunny with, you know the one, right?
Yeah, sure.
He's like banging that drum.
Right.
And he leaves the commercial, and that's the end. And the very first time, the next commercial looked like it was some kind of sinus, ad. And all of a sudden he went into that commercial. I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Like,
Kind of came in across the screen or something.
yeah. And I think it happened for like the third one after that, or the second one after that.
Yeah.
And then, it became a running gag and it wasn't funny anymore. But it was the first time they got real conceptual with a commercial. And I swear, that was the late 80s. And ever since then, they're always going for humor or, something artistic. Because I remember in the past, commercials were just lame. They were just stupid jingles, annoying, like a house scene over like a detergent thing. It was just, just dumbly written, bad jokes. That's my theory.
You guys remember the
All
crazy...
those dirty rings.
Yeah.
That ring
Yeah,
around,
ring
the
around the
collar.
Yeah,
ring
it wasn't
around the
funny.
collar.
It was just lame.
And also the invention of diseases like halitosis.
Right.
Halitosis isn't a disease or it's nothing. They literally made up halitosis to sell Listerine, right?
Yeah. One of my favorite parodies was on the Ben Stiller show, a sketch comedy show he had back in like 1993 with Bob Odenkirk, way before he was famous.
Janine Garofalo.
And
Andy Dick, yeah.
And they had this like a takeoff on the Head and Shoulders commercial where Ben Stiller is constantly harassing Bob Odenkirk going, uh-oh, someone's got dandruff. Uh-oh, dandruff. And Janine Garofalo goes to Bob Odenkirk, why is your friend obsessed with dandruff? I don't know. You want to get out of here?
Well, all that magical memory aside, today we are visiting the other side of the magical memories of commercials. We are visiting worst commercial. And what are our gallant hosts bringing today?
Oh, that was me. Hey, it's Scott here. So for Worstest commercial, I'm going to present AIDS. Let me clarify, AIDS, a reducing plan candy.
Sweet. And this is Pete. Hello, everybody out there. I am going to present today the commercial entitled More Doctors Smoke Camels Than Any Other Cigarette.
Well,
True.
I'm guessing that's an old commercial.
actually, who knows now?
Yeah, really.
This is John, America's John. And
I'm glad you clarified that.
You need to. That's
America's favorite John.
I'd like to think so. I can't think of another John that would be fighting me in that esteem.
Well, now that Johnny Cash is no longer with us.
And he was a Johnny. He wasn't a John.
You're right. He was a Johnny.
I'm looking
Yeah.
for a John J-O-H, and there's John Favreau, a delight.
John Jacob Jinglehopper Schmidt.
Not a real person.
Oh,
Yes. Folktale.
Until proven
A
otherwise.
delightful jingle, but not a real person. John Favreau, fantastic director, very
John
funny.
Hamm, Jon.
Another John Hamm. Who doesn't love John Hamm?
but we digress.
We do digress. Thank you. I am bringing to you what I think is the worst commercial of all time. The Christopher Reeves Nuveen Investment Super Bowl commercial.
Do we have anybody else with another commercial?
My name is Tim. And yes, Pete, I do.
I know you by now.
I am going with the controversial Cadillac poolside commercial.
I don't know that one.
Well, stay tuned, John.
We'll find out.
I will. And everybody else will too. Without further delay, let us dive right into this fantastic episode of Worstest. Worst commercial. Scott, take it away.
Well, hello again, fellas. How you doing?
Hello, Scott.
Hello, Scott.
Just lovely.
Yeah, that's great. So, so I plan to just jump right into this. Quick side note before I begin. Once I found my topic for today's episode, I have to confess I had a strange sense of satisfaction. But that led me to arrive at an unsettling conclusion. This whole process of, okay, find the worst, blah, 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 can end up making a guy feel pretty crummy sometimes. I sincerely hope we're years away from investigating the worstest mating ritual in the animal kingdom. Anyway, for the topic of worstest commercial, I step into the ring with this. AIDS Reducing Plan Candy. Now that is spelled AYDS. This product was an appetite suppressant candy introduced around the 40s in the US. So let's talk about the product itself. The original packaging used the phrase on it, AIDS Reducing Plan Vitamin and Mineral Candy. A later version of the product used the phrase appetite suppressant candy. AIDS was available initially in chocolate mint, butterscotch, and caramel flavors. Yummy. Years later, peanut butter flavor was introduced. The original formula for this reducing plan mineral candy was an ingredient known as benzocaine. The Mayo Clinic website indicates that benzocaine is used to, quote, relieve pain and itching caused by conditions such as sunburn, other minor burns, insect bites or stings, poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, cuts and scratches.
Wait a minute. Wait. So the ingredients in the appetite suppressant
Yeah, go ahead.
is basically calamine lotion.
I guess
What I'm saying is it is a dermal exterior medication.
right, a local anesthetic.
Please go on.
I think I will. So benzocaine is a topical local anesthetic. It deadens nerve endings in the skin. I guess that's how they hope to, the benefit that they hoped as far as the effect it would have on the person. It was used in the AIDS product, presumably, to reduce the sense of taste, resulting in a reduction of eating. Later versions of AIDS used a different active ingredient called, you're going to have to hang in there with me on this one, phenylpropanolamine.
Oh,
Yes, that one.
I love it.
So I'm sorry. How was this item delivered? Was it a pill? Or?
Well, these were suppressant candies. And as a matter of fact, in some of the TV commercials I viewed, you would see the person who was taking the candy or an announcer hold up this little, it looked like a square or a cube. They refer to them as cubes quite often.
I remember the commercial. Yeah, it looked like a little caramel.
Okay.
It looked maybe like a half-inch cube caramel.
So they're-
delightful.
They're hoping to.
You did say cube, right? Not pube?
Wait, are you going to tell me they changed the shape? Now that would be an appetite suppressant.
Yeah, right.
Just put it on top of any meal you've got.
Oh my goodness.
Pubes, we can invite.
I'm not eating that.
Let's start working on pubes. That'll be the appetite suppressant we need.
Okay, so phenylpropanolamine is an agent used as a decongestant and an appetite suppressant. Now this
Jesus Christ.
So the thing that I love is that
this is corporate chemistry we're talking about.
Oh, it
here,
is
so
corporate chemistry to the most corporatist.
chemically. Phenylpropanolamine is a substitute for an amphetamine. It's closely related to things like ephedrine, pseudoephedrine, etc. Amphetamines are well-known anorectic agents, meaning they reduce appetite, resulting in lower food consumption, leading, presumably, to weight loss. The product was introduced by the Carlay Company of Chicago in the early to mid-40s. There were a few corporate transactions in between. Company was basically bouncing around. But in 1962, this product was sold along with the company to Purex. This is kind of interesting in my research. Turns out that Purex, they elicited the assistance of none other than Bob Hope and his wife Dolores Hope, Tyrone Power and his wife Linda Christian, for promoting AIDS. They were AIDS promoters, as did Hedy Lamarr, famed actress and co-inventor of a frequency hopping system, which was the basis for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS. That's a whole nother story. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool.
She
Crazy
became an
stuff.
engineer, right?
Yeah.
In 1981, this is when the story starts to get a bit complicated. So 1981, early 80s, we know where this is going. Purex sold the rights to the AIDS product to the Jeffrey Martin Inc. In 1987, Jeffrey Martin and its product line, including AIDS appetite suppressant and Compose sleep aid, they were acquired by the DEP Corporation. The AIDS diet candy's success was undeniable during the 1970s. However, it was during the 1980s that a perfect storm of circumstances, they began to brew, eventually leading to its downfall. The name AIDS, which had been innocuous in prior decades, now took on a more sinister connotation as the AIDS AIDS, or acquired immune deficiency syndrome epidemic, emerged. Don't feel like I can tell this story without reflecting a little bit on the disease, the condition itself. So the first reports of a mysterious new disease affecting young gay men emerged in the summer of 1981. A Dr. Joseph Sonnabend brought these unusual cases to the attention of a researcher at New York's Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center by the name of Dr. Matilde Krim. They happened to be friends. Alarmed at the rapid rise in the number of cases of this new disease, the two physicians formed an informal study group to try and determine basically what was causing the severe and apparently unrelated symptoms these early patients exhibited. By the end of 81, there were 159 cases having been reported in the U.S. Turn the calendar to 82. The CDC labeled the disease acquired immune deficiency syndrome, or AIDS. By the end of that year, unfortunately, we're dealing with 771 cases having been reported. And of that, very high mortality rate, 618 deaths. By April of 1983, Doctors Krim and Sonnabend, along with a few others in New York City, founded the AIDS Medical Foundation, or AMF. This was the first private organization in the world dedicated to raising funds to support scientific and medical research on AIDS. Its first research grants were awarded in 84, and by September of 85, two organizations banded together. They joined forces to become AMFAR, the American Foundation for AIDS Research.
So when it first came out, I remember it was gay-related immunodeficiency syndrome.
Yeah, GRID.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of misinformation, confusion. You know, you can't get it from toilet seats or any other kooky sort of handshake your club might use to admit you into it.
Was there a diet aid called Grids that also lost its... There's like a breakfast cereal called Grids, and they had to go...
Right. My research did not turn anything up about that in particular, John.
That's probably best.
Yeah. So let's, enough about the disease. Let's get back to the reason we're talking about this, which is why is AIDS the worstest, deserving of the worstest rating or designation for TV commercial? So there were many radio and TV advertisements for the product AIDS in the 80s. There is one in particular that I chose to highlight because it really rates quite high on the cringeometer. To assist everyone who's listening in, I will describe who's speaking as I read through this commercial's transcript. So at first we see a businesswoman named Gloria. She's from Bridgeport, Connecticut. And she says...
That tracks.
She says, I was overweight and looked terrible, but AIDS helped me lose 46 pounds.
God damn it.
Yeah, I got to keep going. Then we see a blue bodysuit wearing Joan from Sicklerville, New Jersey, who shares, the AIDS diet plan helped me lose 28 pounds. Then a small chart appears on screen comparing the benefits of choosing to lose weight using AIDS versus regular diet pills. We hear an overdubbed...
Regular diet pills.
Who would do that?
Oh my God. How Neanderthal.
So we hear an overdubbed announcer state, AIDS helps control your appetite so you lose weight. Yet AIDS lets you taste, chew, and enjoy. There is a quick cut to our announcer who seems to have been pulled straight from Central Casting, I'm telling you. Leisure suit and everything. He comments, and the appetite suppressant in AIDS is not a stimulant. Cut again to housewife Linda from Schenectady, New York. Nice to see New York being represented. And she says, AIDS helped me lose 18 pounds, and it doesn't contain anything to make me nervous.
Hold on. Didn't you say it contains amphetamines or something similar to amphetamines?
Look, I'm only telling you how they were marketing it, Pete, but yes, okay?
All right.
Well, it was an amphetamine substitute, but it was related to ephedrine and pseudoephedrine.
Right.
So, I don't know. We'll have to bring a chemist in after this round to get a judgment on that.
As long as the people don't know it, that's all.
Yeah.
We'll call it something different. Then it will be different.
So after Linda says that it doesn't make her nervous, we get another quick cut to our announcer, who himself doesn't seem at all nervous, before he utters these words while staring straight into the camera. Question. Why take diet pills when you can enjoy AIDS? I shit you not, gentlemen.
That's rough.
And then he finishes with, AIDS helps you lose weight without making you feel jittery.
And that is debatable, isn't it?
Yes. So let me bring this to a quick close. AIDS announced it was seeking a new name in 1988, as sales had already fallen by as much as 50%.
Go ahead. I have things to say.
I'm sure you do. The first rebrand debuted in the UK. Slim was added to AIDS to create a new name, AIDS Slim. Marketing strategists quickly criticized the choice since it still contained the name of the disease.
They won't let it go.
They won't. And you're going to really understand why in a couple of moments. Sales did not improve despite new flavors being added. Apple didn't help. Blackcurrant didn't help.
Did they call it Apple AIDS and Blackcurrant AIDS?
Yeah, John, I mean, let's face it. At this point in the world,
See,
if you're calling anything something AIDS flavored,
here's my thing. So I don't want to.
I got to wrap up. So go ahead.
Wrap it up.
No, are you sure? No, jump in.
So you said 1988 is when they started thinking about doing some changing on the name.
They are right on
but
top.
AIDS. So the disease, AIDS.
It's rampant at this point.
It's rampant, but it started in 81, right?
Yeah.
It really became mainstream news in 1981.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yes.
remember as a kid reading that in like Newsday, little
I was
side
still in high
articles
school.
on it.
Yeah, it was
Right.
crazy. It was
Yeah, but
frightening.
still,
So-
I mean, it wasn't
Yeah,
really
it was
taken
a known
seriously for a
factor.
couple of years, but still by 88 it was well known.
Well, to Pete, to your earlier point, it was because it seemed that most of these cases were arising in a very small subset
Right.
of the population. So I think a lot of people were like, what's it got to do with me?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. So it's 1988. You've got 7 years. 7 years. And in that 7 years, they started seeing sales slow down by 50%, which means that still this is incredibly popular. This wasn't like some weird bottom shelf kind of, it's incredibly
It
popular.
had been around for decades
And
already.
So just so like people don't think like we're just making AIDS jokes here and giggling. It's the pig-headed corporate greedy crappiness.
Oh, you wait.
I don't want to hear anymore, but we have to. This is your but this is it's madness.
There was a doubling and tripling down on this thing.
Yeah, they ain't letting it die.
No, and you're gonna hear how fierce they were
Continue on, my dear
in
friend.
fighting for the right of their AIDS. Okay,
Jesus Christ.
exactly. So again, just sliding back to the whole thing about AIDS Slim and the one of these last remarketing attempts. You know, advertising and any subsequent U.S.-focused campaigns such as Diet AIDS, they were unsuccessful. And by the mid to late 80s, this stuff is gone. To summarize why I believe that AIDS deserves to be the worstest commercial, YouTube. appears to agree with my assessment of this product, that it was poorly named. I used their closed captioning functionality in the video to write out the transcript. And while I was reading the transcript, they were spelling the product AIDS. So even these faceless corporate cogs at YouTube realized this just ain't right. The company was completely tone deaf and insensitive. Once the actual AIDS crisis begins, this company should have been scrambling for a resolution to this unfortunate, and it was, name-sounding coincidence. But it appears that the Jeffrey Martin Company didn't feel the need to make any adjustments whatsoever. What was the company's response, you ask? Let me tell you. Yeah. Well, perhaps it can best be summed up by this. In early 1986, I came across this U.S. article that had some choice quotes from leadership at the Jeffrey Martin Company that was still producing AIDS, the product, that is. The article starts off with this first sentence: AIDS will be called AIDS regardless of AIDS. The executive, I want to give this guy some prime commentary here.
I'm sorry, did you say his name?
I'm coming up to it.
Okay.
So here we go.
Was his last name AIDS? Just because maybe that'll explain the reason he will not let this go.
It should have been Royal Douchebag, but no.
Aiden AIDS.
I named it after me grandfather.
So here we go. The executive vice president and chief operating officer for Jeffrey Martin was a man named Frank DePrima. DePrima is reported to have said, "Consumers are smart enough to tell the difference between a disease and a diet product." Then he went on to add, "The product has been around for 45 years. Let the disease change its name."
Oh, wow. Wow.
Fantastic.
And I will end
when
with
we do
this.
worst douchebag, who's going to try to grab old man DePrima?
So if I can just finish with this final line. Would the man with the darkest of hearts please promptly go F himself?
Wow. Damn, that is something else.
Lovely.
I mean, look, if you had a dog named ISIS and then that horrible terrorist group came out, I'm not changing my dog's name. That's on ISIS. But a disease that no one's to blame for? Come on, Frank. My God.
What if your dog that was named ISIS was an Afghan hound?
Strange coincidence.
Changes things a little bit.
It would, yeah. I think it's an inside job.
Well, I think if you ever watched Downton Abbey, I think the name of their dog is ISIS. And I remember the show came out just before that terror group had that name. I remember the makers of the show must have thought, oh boy, that's unfortunate, but what are you going to do?
Did they change the name
No,
of the
they
dog?
didn't. They did not.
Maybe the
I think they
executive-
allowed it to be trampled by a horse.
I'm pretty sure my sister had a dog that was named Isis, but it was well before. Yeah, this was like in the 70s.
Maybe the executive producer of Downton Abbey was old man DePrima, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What an a-hole.
Wow. See, I was under the impression that when that commercial aired in 81, 82, that it tanked and it was never heard from again. I didn't realize that they were around for another 7 or 8 years.
Well, if I get to the second round, I have some other commercial transcripts to read for you, and there were definitely ones. I got one from 82, another from 85. Oh yeah, they were not letting go.
Wow.
It's odd, Scott, that every time you bring us something lately, it's something that makes me want to scrub myself with steel wool.
I'm glad that I am honestly glad I got that out of the way.
With all due respect, I'm going to have to scrub myself after I read my story. So the single commercial that I'm focused on here is called "More Doctors Smoke Camels Than Any Other Cigarette." This is a 1-minute commercial from 1949, and I am going to start by reading the transcript of this wonderful commercial. Here is the voiceover. If you were to follow a busy doctor as he makes his daily round of calls, you'd find yourself having a mighty busy time keeping up with him. Time out for many men of medicine usually means just long enough to enjoy a cigarette. And because they know what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette, they're particular about the brand they choose. In a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, Quote, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Once again, the brand name most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camel than any other cigarette. Why not change to Camels for the next 30 days and see what a difference it makes in your smoking enjoyment? See how Camels agree with your throat. See how mild and good tasting a cigarette can be. Ba-dam-bam-ba-dam-bam. And that's-
I choose Camel.
So, I mean, it's just shocking, right? When you hear them talking about agreeing with your throat. I mean, what a horrible experience.
Pete, I'm gonna ask maybe the obvious question. Why didn't they poll lawyers or engineers? Why doctors, I wonder?
Well, I just don't know that.
Seems a little suspicious, Tim, doesn't
probably
it?
polled
Yeah.
garbage collectors and,
Police officers,
Probably.
firefighters,
Pimps
but
on
they
the corner.
just happen to
teachers.
have these doctor stats, and
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah.
As if to medically endorse this product.
Yeah.
It almost feels that way, no, Tim?
It kind of does.
If my doctor smokes them, I need to smoke them. I'll be lungerifically healthy, and my throat'll thank me too.
And they did have a little survey of garbage collectors, and they said, "Hey, smoke this crap." But I think the doctor survey went a little.
Yeah.
It's a little.
The garbage
Nope.
men said, "We roll our own. I don't buy my cigarettes like women and children."
So this was.
Or the garbage men said, "Are you crazy smoking? I care about my lungs too much.
Yeah, right.
I don't want them looking like the back of this Garbotron 3000.
John, can you check the sound? All of a sudden, Tim's voice got rather gravelly there, didn't it?
From
'cause-
smoking?
I don't know. Might have been.
Well, they should ask podcasters. 9 out of 10 podcasters will tell you that their throats.
So now
I smoke parliaments.
Oh, God.
I'm just going to go back and review the commercial with the video, what you see over top of the voiceover. So the first part, where he says, if you were following a busy doctor as he makes his daily round of calls, they show a doctor's bag, and then the doctor is carrying it to his car. Then he gets in his car and drives down the road, and you'd find yourself having a mighty busy time keeping up with him. Time out for many men of medicine usually means just long enough. And now we see a pack of Camels on a desk with a partial stethoscope in view, and then the cigarette being extracted from the pack
Oh, yeah.
to enjoy a cigarette.
With forceps?
Pete, this was a television ad in 1949?
It was a television ad.
Most people
indeed.
didn't even have a TV in 1949. It was rare.
Yeah, there's
That's a
so
good-
much
that's
money.
A good point.
Yeah.
I don't. That's a good point. Maybe they used it as a movie preview or something.
Right. There were a
Yeah.
lot of those in movies.
Could
Yeah.
be. But in 1949, I mean, there was programming and lots of it. I
Yeah.
think Milton Berle started in the late 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, Meet the Press was late 40s. Yeah.
Nothing like
Soupy
meeting
sales.
press and then having a Camel cigarette.
They smoked on camera.
Oh yeah.
Newscasters smoked
sure.
on camera.
Well, Pete, I'm a little disappointed because when you were talking about this imagery of the doctor in his office, I kind of had this image of a guy with a cigarette hanging out of the corner of his mouth as he's pulling on a glove to give somebody a prostate exam. All right, hang on a second.
Smoke's going in his eye. Just hang on a second.
Oh, geez, where's that hole?
I think I see it.
Lift up your
So
knee.
now we switch to the scene of a doctor in his office, sitting behind his desk, lighting up a cigarette. And a nurse passes him some papers to review. He reviews the papers while smoking the cigarette.
How close is the bottle of scotch?
Fair question. Then he says, "So what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette. They're particular about the brand they choose." Then, in a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Now we switch to a doctor in his car, lighting a cigarette with his Good old cigarette car lighter, as we all remember those.
I miss those.
Me
beauties.
too. Bring them back.
And then, so he's lighting the cigarette with that, and then we transition to another pack of cigarettes, which is kind of indeterminate. It's just a pack of cigarettes. I thought maybe it was on the dashboard of the car. You can't really tell. It's just a pack of cigarettes.
Sure.
Camel cigarettes, by God. And then back to the man smoking in his car again. Brand name most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, most doctors smoke Camel than any other cigarette. Why not change to Camels? Now, alas, we switch, of course, to the beautiful young woman in a dress and a pearl necklace in profile, lighting up a cigarette, inhales, exhales,
Nothing sexier.
turns to the camera and smiles.
Was it a young B. Arthur?
Maybe, yeah.
How brown were her teeth, Pete?
Not, because she was quite young, of course. You know, I'm sure they had a boatload of, people who've been smoking for 20 years who are not applicable to this commercial. And then she turns back to profile and inhales and exhales again for the next 30 days and see what difference it makes in your smoking enjoyment. See how Camels agree with your throat. This is while the beautiful woman is smoking the cigarette. See how mild and good tasting a cigarette can be. The commercial shows images of a doctor with all his stereotypical paraphernalia, including his office nurse, doctors smoking in the office and in the car, close-ups of Camel cigarette packs twice, and of course the requisite beautiful woman smoking a cigarette and smiling at the camera.
You gotta.
So, in conjunction with the powerful, if ridiculous, claims spoken in the commercial, this commercial packs just about as much punch as you could hope for in a 1949 one-minute ad. It's from an R.J. Reynolds campaign which ran from 1940 to 1949 and also includes many print ads, and claimed that, quote, more doctors smoke Camels, unquote. In the majority of the advertisements in the campaign, the quote, more doctors campaign slogan was included alongside other popular Camel campaigns, such as the T-Zone, T for throat, T for taste. More people are smoking Camels than ever before, and experience is the best teacher.
Boy, they're obsessed with throats.
I know. It's crazy. It's
weird.
like
Well, can I ask this group, has anybody ever smoked cigarettes? I haven't.
I used to smoke a pack a year. I would buy Dunhills when we were hanging out in the village.
Oh,
And I'd
nice.
smoke a couple.
You always were hep.
I really am. I'm a hep cat, daddy-o.
I smoked one.
I tried.
Actually, I smoked half, and then I was like, wait a minute, what if I try to inhale? And I did that once, and then I was all done.
It was, yeah. I remember there being quite a harsh reaction as I was inhaling, and I coughed horribly. And I wonder if what they were trying to promote there was the fact that it was just less irritating to one's throat. So
I don't, well,
your T-zone is not being as horribly assaulted as with a typical less quality cigarette.
I never understood the point.
Of smoking?
It seems like such low satisfaction for something that has very high risk.
exactly.
I don't think I ever inhaled. I did like clove cigarettes, but you would never inhale a clove cigarette. I loved clove cigarettes. I smoked a lot of those.
I was going to say, I smoked the one cigarette, and I inhaled, and it burned my throat like hell.
Horrible.
So
Yeah,
how
I
you
just
can
don't see
possibly
the
say that a cigarette can agree with your throat is just utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. Going back a little bit, so in the 30s and 40s, smoking became the norm for both men and women in the United States, and a majority of physicians smoked. At the same time, there was rising public anxiety about the health risks of cigarette smoking. One strategic response of tobacco companies was to devise advertising referring directly to physicians. As ad campaigns featuring physicians developed through the early 50s, tobacco executives used the doctor image to assure the consumer that their respective brands were safe.
Listen to Dr. No Jaw.
So these advertisements also suggested that the individual physician's clinical judgment should continue to be the arbiter of the harms of cigarette smoking even as systematic health evidence accumulated. However, by 1954, industry strategists deemed physician images and advertisements no longer credible in the face of growing public concern about the health evidence implicating cigarettes.
Using the term malarkey.
Sounds like you sniffed it out there, Tim, didn't you?
Indeed.
On January 11th, 1964, the Surgeon General released a report indicating that smoking was a cause of lung and esophageal cancer in men, a probable cause of lung cancer in women, and the most important cause of chronic bronchitis. In 1965, cigarette boxes began to be stamped with a mandatory warning label: caution, cigarette smoking may be hazardous to your health.
Maybe.
Not for children.
That was on for a long time. I remember that being on, that label on for all of our youth. And
Yeah.
eventually they stepped it up to more drastic warnings. But
And no one ever smoked again.
well, actually, I was going to say
I
that
guess you didn't grow up in my household.
yeah, right. Thankfully, smoking rates have fallen each year since the Surgeon General's first warning.
Yeah.
So including now. So.
Yeah, I can tell you, I've been teaching for 21 years, and when I first started teaching, there was at least a handful of kids who smoked cigarettes, high schools, seniors. And I can't remember the last time I had a student who smoked cigarettes. It's been years.
But when I was in the clubs, I loved being smoky. I loved going home and smelling like smoke. There was a decadence to it.
Yeah, there was a certain
Sense of danger, maybe, or
Yeah,
something
it was
like
great.
that.
It was great. But then
something atmospheric about smoking in bars and clubs and pubs.
yes.
Look at me, I'm in a film noir.
Ooh, look.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
I'm intriguing. Is that it, Pete?
That is it.
All
That
right.
is why I purport that more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette is the worstest commercial.
So I just want to understand who I'm up against, because he's my opponent.
Yes.
So you're basically saying that this product, which was clearly dangerous, it appears evident that the company was aware and they were trying to fool the U.S. public, worldwide public, let's face it, I'm sure Camels were available elsewhere, into believing, well, if a doctor would do it, he or she, well, mostly he, I guess at this point, he knows what we're doing. He knows what's good. He knows what's right.
Right.
Okay. All right.
And they're saying in the 30s and 40s there was rising public anxiety, right? But there was
So there's already rising public anxiety, so they're looking to nip it in the bud by having doctors.
exactly there essentially was no proof because nobody was studying it. I mean, the cigarette companies were certainly not going to give proof.
They're not going to fess up.
They probably were studying it.
Well,
They were trying to nip it in the bud.
They're making too much money.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Tim and I,
Well, John,
the two of us have quite a job to do.
do we?
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to put it like this, John. Scott's commercial was an appetite suppressant that shared the same name as a disease that killed people. Pete's commercial killed people. It led to more people smoking cigarettes, undoubtedly, which killed people.
I was leaning towards Scott's commercial just for that one dude. The what's the word?
Prick?
Well, yes. Yeah, I was looking for something a little fancier. But yeah, it's just so jauntist.
Cynical.
Cynical. One of the worst things I've ever heard, honestly. And that's one man. Here we have an entire industry. So I'll go with you. Yes, this did actually kill people. So I think that's a quick reel around the worstest fountain.
I think Scott did a great job.
A fantastic
It's just,
job.
I had no choice but
No
to
doubt.
go with Pete.
Tim, I'll go with you on that. So our first round winner is Pete with Doctors Recommend Camel. Well done.
And cancer.
And
Scott and I are going to go shower now.
Not too quickly, Pete. We don't know what these guys have planned for us.
that is true.
That's true.
Let us dive into a little bit of music to cleanse our palates. And then we will return with me, John, and Tim going neck and neck against each other, fighting for which. And here we are. We're back. Sorry, that's me. I
Was that the phone or the
Get like an
PC?
email
it's
coming
my.
in.
Yeah, it's
There you go.
my.
It's
Oh, the
muted now.
computer?
You just muted it.
Yeah.
John, it's time for you to take one of your AIDS diet pills.
Wait, is that because I'm fat? Is what you're saying?
No.
You monster.
It was a ding-ding reminder, almost like an alert or an alarm.
Scott, clean our palate. Tell us an R. Kelly story.
I shan't.
Oh, that was terrible. We are back for our second round, our second bout, our second joust for Worst Commercial. And I shall go right now.
Okay, John, do your worst.
I will do the best at doing my worst.
Pete, I'm very excited. I don't remember either one of these.
Here we go. Number 3. The Christopher Reeves Nuveen Investments Super Bowl commercial. On January 30th, the year 2000, 43% of American households and at least 17 different people worldwide were sitting in front of TV sets watching Super Bowl 34. The St. Louis Rams and the Tennessee Titans rose through the ranks throughout the season to face each other in the biggest football game, not to mention the biggest TV event of the year.
Of course, you're well aware of that, John. I won't ask you for the St. Louis Rams statistics at this point, but
This
we all
will
know.
be the one and only time I talk about sports, and I do not mention my inability or absolute lack of knowledge of it. In fact, I'm going to give you a little bit of a sports bit of trivia. Out of the top 20 most watched TV broadcasts ever, 19 were Super Bowls.
That tracks.
That's right.
That tracks.
That was a trivia question
That
I asked
was?
one night. What was the one that was not a Super Bowl?
Any idea?
MASH.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
MASH.
final episode.
Very good.
Finale, that's
yeah,
right.
that is the only...
It's kind of a weird entry, isn't it, for non-Super Bowl?
Well, it was back when there was only 5 or 6 channels, mostly. Cable wasn't as mainstream yet.
Right.
And it was a popular show.
Yeah.
So, getting back away from Hawkeye's dalliances. So with ratings like this, you can be sure that commercial ad space is priced at a premium, and companies focus on the most stunning and arresting ad campaigns to get the most out of those advertising dollars. That so much thought and so much money goes into these commercials, it is bewildering that so many commercials miss the mark. Some are boring, some ridiculous, some strive for too much to accomplish in a 1-minute commercial, and some try so hard to be ironically low effort that they backfire and disappear from the viewer's memory in the span of the next commercial. Then there is the Nuveen Investments Christopher Reeves Super Bowl commercial. An ad that's contents are so soul-crushingly awful, it should be Exhibit A in every college student's thesis titled Capitalism on Trial. To begin this, though, let me introduce you to Christopher Reeves, if you don't know or don't remember who he is. Christopher was born on September 25th, 1952 in New York City and raised in New Jersey. He took to acting at a very young age, starring in an operetta at age 9. He was immersed in every level of acting from then on. During college, he did summer stock at the San Diego Shakespeare Festival, acting in several of the Bard's plays throughout the season.
Wow.
Yeah, he's incredibly. I'm glossing over tons.
Yeah, I know he had a profound knowledge of acting.
Yeah, he's amazing. Before his third year of college, Reeves took a 3-month leave of absence. He traveled to Glasgow, Scotland, and saw theatrical productions throughout the United Kingdom. He helped actors at the Old Vic with their American accents by reading the newspapers aloud for them. He then flew to Paris to study the French theater. He was fluent in French and helped the French actors learn American and French. And at 21 years old, done with college, he was one of approximately 2,000 students auditioning for 20 places in the freshman class at Juilliard. Reeves's audition was in front of 10 faculty members. Reeve and Robin Williams were the only students selected for Juilliard's advanced program. Wow. They had several classes together in which they were the only 2 students.
They were incredibly tight, those two, weren't
Incredibly.
Yeah.
They became friends here, and they
know
had
that. Yeah.
lifelong friendship. After appearing in many off-Broadway plays and several small roles in films, he was cast in the big-budget production of Richard Donner's Superman, where, like me, He was no fan of Marlon Brando's laconic disrespect to the work of acting. It's true. He played Superman a few more times in addition to many other movies, some very good. Check out Somewhere in Time, a huge favorite of mine. He also did theater work, directing, but also aviation, sailing, and how we know the most tragic chapter of his life, horseback riding. On May 27, 1995, witnesses say as Reeves was training a horse for competition, the horse began the third fence jump and suddenly stopped. Reeves fell forward off the horse, holding on to the reins. His hands became tangled in them, and the bridle and bit were pulled off the horse. He landed head first on the far side of the fence, shattering his first and second vertebrae. The resulting cervical spine injury paralyzed him from the neck down and halted his breathing. Although he was hospitalized immediately, he was paralyzed from the neck down and unable to walk or breathe without a ventilator.
Yikes.
In the aftermath of the accident, Reeves went through intense grief, but he gradually resolved to make the best of his new life with a busy schedule of activism, film work, writing and promoting his books, public speaking, and parenting. In 1998, he said in an interview, "Who knows why an accident happens? The key to what do you do afterwards? There's a period of shock and then grieving with confusion and loss. And after that, you have two choices. One is to stare out the window and gradually disintegrate, and the other is to mobilize and use all of your resources, whatever they may be, to do something positive. And that is the road I have taken. It comes naturally to me. I'm a competitive person, and right now, I'm competing against decay. I don't want osteoporosis or muscle atrophy or depression to beat me." It is possibly with this attitude that he took the acting job which finds him on this particular episode of Worstest. Nuveen Investment Management is a Chicago-based asset management group that started in 1898 and today has assets under management of a little over $1 trillion. Just a little over that.
Wow, talk about old money.
I have to excuse myself from this as I am fully invested in
You a member of the board, Pete?
Why you need to advertise during the Super Bowl for such a company, I do not know. But they say that their goal was to, quote unquote, connect the company's financial services with the idea of making a positive impact on the future. I certainly applaud that idea. Although in reality, we know that that rarely is the case. And if the sensitivity that is present in the execution of this commercial is any evidence, we'll be waiting for a good long time to see financial services and altruism walking through the park holding hands. In this commercial, which once again aired in 2000, a large group of very rich people, tuxes and gowns all, are gathered in an auditorium in the future as a speaker talks about how they cured AIDS in 2004 and in 2006, cancer. And that night, he's presenting an award for research that supposedly cured spinal cord injuries. I'm glad you're making that face. Scott is making an incredulous face.
I think I'm starting to remember this.
Oh, okay.
I remember the commercial. I can't forget it.
Yeah. The identity of who is accepting that reward is a mystery at first. As a pair of black, shiny shoes, tuxedo shoes, as I was calling them in finishing school. I didn't go to finishing school. But the identity is a mystery. Shiny black shoes are shown unsuredly walking across the red carpet. But as the camera pans out, we see it is Christopher Reeves walking in a janky CGI style that only 2000 TV production can deliver. Side note, how the hell could Jurassic Park have dinosaurs come to life on screen in 1993 and all subsequent CGI has just slid downhill ever since? Now, Christopher Reeve's mantra has been, since the accident, that he would walk again. And when he saw this, I believe that this just gave him further inspiration. He acknowledged the day after the commercial aired that he has been often criticized for his unceasing optimism that he will one day walk again. but he insisted that the scene in the television commercial is something that can actually happen. All right. The problem is, aside from just how jarring it was to watch the commercial when it first aired, which I had, all the exposition in the beginning, trying to push the narrative that this was all in the future, well, that all disappeared in an immediate reaction of, what the fuck? Christopher Reeve can walk! Yay! Now, jackasses like myself, half out of my mind that night on keg beer and nachos, could watch it and after a little while, or the next morning realize, oh, that was some sort of computer effect. But that commercial was nothing more than an odd, unnerving distraction to me. You know who it meant a little more to? The 250,000 people in the U.S. who have severe spinal cord injuries, 43% of which were watching that commercial. In the aftermath, the U.S. Spinal Cord Injury Association, among hundreds of other hospitals, clinics, and the like, were inundated with calls. What research institute did Mr. Reeves go to in order to receive his cure? And of course, there wasn't one. That is my presentation on why I think this is the worst commercial ever.
You know, John, I remember watching this commercial, and I was obviously not fully lasered in on it, so I didn't know that it was an investment company. I thought it was some sort of biomedical company that were doing research to eventually cure, people with spinal injuries. I didn't realize it was an investment. What do you call those? Like those.
It was an investment management group.
Investment management group, yeah.
And the absolute cynical, seen it all part of me wants to say that they were launching some sort of medical or pharmaceutical fund.
That's what I thought. That's what I figured.
Yeah. And that's why they did this particular thing. If I make it to the second half, I have a touch more about Nuveen, their take on why they did this particular commercial. But
I thought I remembered, and I guess I'm wrong, but I thought he was in the wheelchair at first, and then he got up and started walking.
Yeah, you see it. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of tried to make it quick. But I believe you see someone getting up, and then you see the feet, and then you see it's him.
Oh, okay.
Or you see him in the chair, and then you see the feet. So you can't be sure at first, but then you see him walking. And they got a body double that is big and burly and super strong. And then they have his head, and this is no mocking Christopher Reeves at all, but they have his head at that time. And he's just sick, and he's emaciated, and with all the medication, his head doesn't look right. I believe he's bald at the time. And so you've got this brawny, strong body on this head, and it's just
sounds disturbing.
It is incredibly disturbing. I remember I was at a friend of mine's house. There's a bunch of us were smoking cigars, blah blah blah, and that came on, and it was number one on the range is disconcerting. It goes up to 10, and I was somewhere around 9.9, as was everyone, as was the country. I remember going to work the next day, and it was a very exciting game. It was a very close, very tight game.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Wasn't there a last-second tackle? The guy was like on the 1.5 yard line or something. He got stopped.
He reached out and he got about to the half-yard line. That was the end of the game.
Yeah.
And that was not what people were talking about, or a good amount of people. It was this commercial.
Could I just ask you to go back a few moments ago? Because when the commercial started, were these this gaggle of rich folk, were they all bragging and celebrating having cured AIDS and cancer as well?
So imagine it's like some very big rotunda. There's probably 2,000 people in the audience. There's a circular stage in the middle of it, and there's an older man, a very fancy older man. He's like, at the turn of the century, we had our sights set, I'm paraphrasing like crazy, but we had our sights set on curing all kinds of disease. In 2004,
AIDS was 2004.
He didn't say we cured it, but we tackled the idea of curing it. And then in 2006, we made great strides in cancer.
Great strides.
And now we have, figured out So it's very amorphous on the exact date that he is making this speech. It's sometime in the future. And there's all these people, as he's making that speech, you see, so you're in this very rich, very fancy, rotunda. And then you see the people who might be looking at the screen. So people in regular life who have everything to benefit from Nuveen's $1 trillion of money that they manage. And then at the end, you had the whole Christopher Reeve thing. It was just que horrible, as they say in first year Spanish classes.
Are we supposed to clap now, I think?
No, I'm just done.
Well,
you can clap if you'd like.
summed it up? All right.
I mean, it was an excellent.
Congratulations.
It was an excellent, if not winning.
That was a
Presentation.
terrible exposition.
It really was.
Well,
Anyway.
we'll see if you get up and walk away from this table, John.
All right, John. I'm going to counter your Christopher Reeve Nuveen commercial with a controversial commercial of my own. The Cadillac poolside commercial.
I don't remember this at all.
Me neither. I'm
Well.
intrigued.
Or as I am dubbing it, what's wrong with America right now?
So how much time do you have?
Well, this is going to go a long way in explaining some things.
Okay.
So first, a little background. This commercial aired in 2014. It stars Neil McDonough, an actor who I actually admire, by the way. You might know him from the show Band of Brothers,
Oh
the
yeah.
miniseries. I believe he played Buck Compton, a real-life member of the 101st Airborne Division.
My gosh, I love that series. I don't remember the character.
So
I can't picture him.
if you look him up, you'll know exactly who he is. He was in most of the episodes. So he's a good actor. I have no beef with Neil McDonough. As far as I know, he's a wonderful person. I don't know how he feels about this commercial. He probably just took it for the money, as most actors who are not household names will do. Especially a commercial. There's good money in commercials. John, you've done commercials, right?
I have
What do you call it when the
I'm looking at it
commercial
now.
airs again and again? You get
residuals.
residuals, right?
Yes.
Residuals.
Yes.
Good money.
I did a National Lowe's commercial.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Can I search that somewhere?
I tried to. My friend Terrence saw it somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd love
Is
to
that
see
the
it.
one where you were hugging the... Oh, wait a minute.
They.
Was it the Huggy Graham?
Oh, the Huggy Graham.
Oh my gosh, I know this dude.
Yeah.
The
you know Neil
Huggy Graham
McDonough.
commercial.
Sure.
I never got residuals from that because sadly the company went out of business. Yes, that's for another. Oh shoot! I should have done the Huggy Graham commercial.
Ah.
What?
Missed opportunity.
I was in it.
Maybe next
It
time.
is. It is literally. It gets taken down. It gets to about 700,000 or 800,000 views. Gets taken down. Anyway, this is about you, not me.
All right. So let me give you a little background here. First of all, a word on Cadillac, the brand Cadillac. Everyone's heard of it.
Sure.
It's become synonymous with luxury, not just in cars, but in everything. The Cadillac of health plans.
Yep.
A nickname given to health plans where you have access to the best possible care.
Yep.
So this is from a local Cadillac dealership. This is what they write about their brand. For years, the Cadillac brand has been the object of affection and admiration from Americans of all walks of life. To many, the name Cadillac is practically synonymous with the American dream itself. A dream rooted in aspiration, achievement, and success. But why exactly has Cadillac earned this exalted status? What key elements have elevated it to this lofty perch in the heart of the American consumer? And then it goes into, of course, to the technology used from its inception as a car builder in 1902. Advanced technology has been an integral part of Cadillac's DNA. Let me begin with a description of the Cadillac poolside commercial.
A side note, by the way, for
Yes.
Cadillac, Cadillac was advertised as a woman's car because it didn't have, this is back in the 20s, 30s, it didn't have a crank to start it. It had all electric, special options.
Doodads,
It was an easy car, and it was advertised as the woman's car.
Interesting.
It'll
Yeah,
drive
so-
itself.
So every time some guy's like, I got a Cadoo. Hey, you ain't a man unless you have a Cadoo. Oh, the original woman's car? Well, enjoy that cadoo, sir.
You take that back.
I shall not, sir. No, go away. Please.
So, our commercial opens with our actor standing in front of his pool in the backyard of his lovely home. He then proceeds to stroll through his well-appointed home, smugly proclaiming the proud work ethic of Americans, while simultaneously mocking Europeans, particularly the French, which we'll see at the end, for their excessive vacation days. So
Those losers.
yeah,
right.
This
well,
isn't a commercial?
oh yes, I'll try and summarize. So as the actor walks through his home, again this very nice modern home, he says, "Why do we work so hard? For what? For this? For stuff? In other countries, they work. They stroll home and stop at the cafe. They take August off. Off. Why aren't you like that? Why aren't we like that?" Now, when I first saw this commercial 11 years ago, I thought, wait a minute. What, are the capitalist propagandizers actually going to say that American consumerism and materialism have gone too far? Are they actually going to suggest in a national commercial that the American worker, long deprived of adequate vacation time, should work less? No, they were not, actually. Not at all.
I knew there was a twist.
Oh, no. In fact, just the opposite. The makers of this ad actually doubled down on the fact that the average American worker gets totally hosed when it comes to vacation time. The rationale? Well, our actor continues. Why do we do this? Why aren't we like that? Here's why, apparently. Because we're crazy-driven, hard-working believers. That's why. Those other countries think we're nuts. Whatever. Were the Wright brothers insane? Bill Gates? Les Paul? Ali? It's pretty simple. You work hard, you create your own luck. And you gotta believe anything is possible. As for all the stuff, that's the upside of only taking 2 weeks off in August. Ne sais pas? hence the dig at the French. So when I saw this commercial, I immediately saw what it was about. I was completely pissed off, and I remember going online soon after and seeing what everyone thought of it. And sure enough, definitely a majority of Americans, when you read comments about this on YouTube or Reddit, are outraged by this, and they see this for what it is. Unfortunately, however, there is a disturbingly large percentage of the population who think this is a wonderful ad, and this sums it up perfectly, is why they want to buy a Cadillac. Why is it the worst? For starters, let's look at the rationale here. If we only take 2 weeks vacation a year, and there's a lot of Americans who don't even get that much. They don't even get any paid vacation time. The idea is that we're going to eventually own a huge home, a luxury vehicle, and that this, if you work hard, this is going to come to you. When, of course, that very often does not come true at all.
It happens all the time at $14 an hour.
Oh, yes, exactly. Well, as I was going to say, never mind the fact that the vast majority of American workers who are even lucky enough to get 2 paid weeks of vacation a year, they'll never even get invited to a huge house with an infinity pool, let alone own one. Right? Now, as for the Cadillac, I suppose it is attainable for many Americans who might want to sock away what little excess savings they can scrounge together if they're paying their exorbitant rent, exorbitant healthcare costs, and other insurance premiums. You know what? Maybe if you're lucky, you might be able to finance that Caddy and hope you can pay it off before your job is outsourced or replaced by AI. Right? But here's the thing. I think what is ultimately so obnoxious about this ad is that these same corporate stooges who dreamed it up, who produced it, who wrote it, who directed it, they no doubt get as many vacation days as they want.
Exactly.
All right? All the top executives in all these corporations take virtually unlimited vacation time. They take it whenever they need. So you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the time in 2005 that George Bush was speaking to a woman at a town hall in Omaha, Nebraska. And this was a divorced mother of 3 who told President Bush, "I work 3 jobs to have to put food on the table." George W. Bush, as we all fondly remember him, is a bit tone deaf when it comes to these sort of things. His actual response, which you can find online, "You work 3 jobs? Uniquely American, isn't it? I mean, that is fantastic that you're doing that." This is to a divorced mother of 3, working 3 jobs. This guy didn't understand That's an embarrassment. This is the richest country in the world. He should be apologizing to that woman. That should have been his response. My God, I can't believe that a divorced mother of three has to work three jobs to put food on the table. I am so sorry. Let me get to work on this.
Yeah, we need to do
What does
better.
he care about it?
Yeah, no. Or as someone on Reddit put it, you have 3 jobs? I got 3 homes. Isn't America great? You know, the one true thing that Bush said in that line, uniquely American, isn't it? Yeah, it is, George. Yeah, it is. It's uniquely American. Oh, yeah. Also, don't forget that George Bush, in his first year in office, pre-9/11, took off more vacation days than any president before him. He was constantly taking off, going golfing, going to Camp David.
Clearing that brush.
Yeah, and was people
Love
were
clear and brush.
He does, yeah. People were quite critical of him. And then 9/11 comes along, everyone forgets about it, naturally. So just more proof that these rules, as well as societal standards, they don't apply to the rich.
Well, also, he had nothing to do before 9/11.
That's true, too. Very little to do. Yeah. So the worst thing about this ad is the shallow and ultimately cynical values it promotes. I think for 3 of these 4 commercials, we've used the word cynical.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what makes a terrible commercial, is how cynical they are. The only thing that matters in this kind of mindset is your material well-being. Your worth, your happiness even, is purely an extension of how much stuff you own, right? Who cares about vacation time? What are you going to do with it anyway? Travel? Why would you want to go to icky Europe anyway? Ugh.
Especially France.
Yeah, my God. And there's
Those baguette-having frogs.
Yeah. All they do is sit around all day in cafes and drink coffee and eat croissants.
Spending 4
Ridiculous.
hours eating lunch.
And
Yeah.
turn their noses up at us.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to what they think of these sort of things, this American mindset.
And anyway, how are you going to get your Cadillac over there?
Exactly. My caddy wouldn't even fit on their roads. It's too small. They got all these pussy cars over there. How am I going to fit all my stuff?
I can't even say the names of their cars. I'd curse them, but Citroens.
Peugeot? The hell is that?
I like the teddy bear that's the symbol on the Peugeot, though. It's nice.
It is nice. I like
I'm
that.
going to buy one for my third wife and my gumad. Please continue.
So, again, who cares about travel? Who cares about your other hobbies and passions? Right? We're Americans. Our passion is work. And look, me personally, I like my job. I get a lot of satisfaction out of it. Doesn't mean I want to do it 50 weeks a year
No, sir.
until I'm 65 years old. I have other interests.
65 is a pipe dream.
Well, yeah. Well, and that, I mean, I can go way beyond the
We have a
surface
whole new
here.
topic.
Certainly.
I mean, the idea that these wage earners could save up to own a Cadillac, let alone a luxury home, forget it. They're lucky if they can retire ever. So this idea like, hey, you should be happy you only get 2 weeks vacation or no vacation because we're Americans, we work hard.
Well, Tim, I know this hasn't escaped you, but if they keep dangling that carrot just out of your reach, maybe you can convince some people to just forego some days off, some relaxation, and just keep pounding away for insufficient wages.
They do. Yeah, I mean, maybe Americans are waking up to this. I don't know. I'd like to think so.
Oh, the newer generations, the younger generations most certainly are.
I think they are.
And me.
Yeah.
You're part of the younger generation.
I'm with the kids, man. I'm
You got
down.
the residuals rolling
I
in.
think
What does it
Bodie, I
matter?
got Huggy Gram residuals. I don't need any of this
What does
bullshit.
it matter to you?
I think they've got to figure it out. I know this goes around for all the time, every generation. No one wants to work anymore. No, they don't want to work for you because
Right.
you're paying shitty wages, and they don't have to. They have other things they can do.
100%.
So look,
Good on them.
yeah, exactly. Good on them is right. There's a movement in China right now. It's called lie flat. I don't know what the word is in Chinese, but the younger generation refuses to work what the state wants them to, which is something. It's worse than here. I mean, it's something like 13-hour days, 6 days a week. Again, like I don't know, 51 weeks a year. They're refusing to do that. They're just doing what our Gen Zers are doing, taking a job here and there, doing it for a few months or a year, saving up some money, and then doing what they love, whether it's traveling, writing, what have you.
TikTok videos.
Oh, yes, exactly, which is probably going to make them more money than working in a factory at this point.
Podcast.
There you go.
Cursing the president.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they don't do that.
So,
Not
yeah.
for too long, anyway.
again, you know,
Oh, in shiny, you mean?
who this really applies to would be the executives who are working 50 to 51 weeks a year, but they're making bank. And they could probably retire at 45 years old and then do whatever they want for the next 40, 45 years of their lives. You know, try telling the worker office drone that they're better off just getting 2 paid weeks of vacation a year, you know, making chump change, and if they're lucky, getting health insurance. You know why? You know why it's worth it? Because you can get more stuff. You can get more stuff.
And you can work harder to get more stuff for me.
Right, that too. Right. And speaking of stuff, all
And
the
you know,
stuff
maybe
we
if you
buy.
can't get a new caddy, maybe you can get a 1965 caddy. You know,
with the vintage ones.
with the window cranks.
Yeah.
And,
And, you know,
That's worth way more than a new caddy
Yeah,
is.
right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
Used car, like used, even not even collectible, but just used
Yes.
car prices are
100%.
insanely high right now.
Yeah. Oh boy, don't tell me that with my wife's car.
Oh, that's
on
right.
Fritz
We
now.
literally 2 hours ago had a
Oh
comment.
boy. Anyway, so you know, and one final thing I'll say is all this stuff that this guy is bragging about buying. What do we usually do with this stuff? It winds up in the front of our house, being taken away by the sanitation workers 5 to 6 years later on a landfill on the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Or in a storage space because you have no more room in the attic
Right.
and the garage any longer.
Another caddy, Lenny. Here we go.
Yeah. And by the way, just to even back up my point that this is a terrible commercial is the fact that they have done many studies about what truly makes people happy. It's not buying stuff. It's not making lots of money. It's 2 things. One, the number one thing is helping other people, by the way. That is the number one thing that makes people happy. And Cadillacs. Yeah, that's a distant third.
Brought to you by the Cadillac Foundation.
No, the other thing is experiences, like travel, right? Like going to a nice dinner.
Taking a nice lunch and
Yes.
having a cappuccino.
All right, or having friends over or being with friends. Things you really can't do a lot of when you're working 50 weeks a year. You know, because I got to get that caddy. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. This commercial just pisses me off.
We couldn't tell, Tim.
Oh, boy.
It pisses me off now, too. I don't think I've ever seen it, and I hate
Well,
it.
check it out later. It just has why I described it, basically.
And so the thing, I'm not sure if you did mention this and I missed it, but the Cadillac is next to the pool? Is that-
No, in the end, when he walks out of his home, he gets into his car, and that's when he talks to the camera and says, you know, the perks of working 50 weeks a year is all the stuff. N'est-ce pas? And then he drives off in his Cadillac. The new Cadillac ELS.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he goes to get the Cadillac, and it's being repoed.
Yeah, right.
Being towed
That would be
away.
funny
Wait a minute,
if it looks like it's moving, but he's actually attached to the tow truck.
Sir, you've got to
Sir,
get out
can
of
you
the
wait
car.
2 minutes, please? I'm running a commercial here.
Oh, my God.
So
All right.
that is my offering for
Excellent.
worst commercial.
Truly awful. Truly awful.
Thank you.
Well, Scott and Pete, you've got work to do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Wow. So we have, I don't know, how would you summarize the Nuveen commercial? What would you say is the summary of the terribleness of it?
Cynical and poorly thought out. And using poor Christopher Reeve's eternal optimism and, if not weaponizing it, certainly using it to beat people into a place that either A, they're not comfortable with, or B, that they are traumatized by once they find out that what they saw was a mere chimera. It's bad enough when, I thought I'd be getting a lifetime supply of balloons with this crazy clown head water gun toy. It's bad enough when you don't get the free balloons for your lifetime, which is what had happened to me when I was 12. Ooh. But it's even worse when you think that you are going to be cured of your spinal injury. But go ahead, guys. You make your decision.
Excuse me, sirs. I'd like to walk again. May I have the walking extension, please? I'd like to speak to the walking people.
And it didn't happen.
Yeah. So
Press 5 to walk again.
we've got the Reeves commercial. Missed the mark and gave, at least in any kind of an immediate sense,
It was a baffling commercial.
Yeah.
I have to admit, it
And-
was.
and it
you
gave-
watch this commercial and you're like, "What the hell was anybody thinking about this?" And it is. It's kind of, you feel like Christopher Reeve was like, "Yes, I want to walk again," and then everybody's like, We want you to walk
Yeah,
again.
and we want some of that, but there was a lot of, at least in an immediate sense, a lot of false hope.
Well, it
baked-
was, yes,
baked-
we want you to walk again, and could you just read this?
Yeah.
And then we have Tim's thesis on
Crass consumerism, which has just Mr. Creosoted out. It just keeps expanding and expanding. And I'm just going to go right out there, Pete, and say that given our current zeitgeist right now in our area of the world, that is really touching me in a place that's a little bit tender.
and I'm too far away from you.
That's right. It's not you.
I can't even touch you there.
It's that's really resonating with me, and it's making me as unfortunate and somewhat misguided as the commercial with Christopher Reeves was. I'm feeling some of that heat that Tim had,
Yeah.
and I'm just that's definitely it's
I know
an
exactly
incredibly
what you
terrible
mean.
message for this
And,
country. It always was, and it's just getting worse.
And if I may, because I guess I see where you're going, but also the subliminal part of that commercial about the Cadillac commercial is, once again, and you mentioned it, it's the dangling carrot. You can see the capitalist trolls who run the machinery grinding their filthy feces gnarled knuckles together, saying, yes, this will get people to work harder for us.
Yeah.
And we can eat babies and fly on Epstein's plane even more. Wait, what happened to him? Anyway, I digress.
I know exactly where you're coming from. And the thing is, there is a hint of something good somewhere in that Nuveen commercial. And maybe it's just Christopher Reeve's optimism. I kind of doubt on the Nuveen side that there's anything good that you can say about it.
Not a touch.
But there is a little bit, at least on Christopher Reeve's side, and on the Cadillac side, it's just nasty all around. Tim delivered his Worstest commercial with real fervor that fit the sickening
Venom.
the
I was going to say
venom that was
I had
behind
to
it.
keep ducking the bile that was flying in my
That's
direction. You know,
So I think we're on the same page, and
we're in agreement?
that even though John submitted an excellent worst commercial, I think Tim is going to take it to the next round.
yes, Tim successfully, at least for the time being, drove that Cadillac straight into that pool.
That's right.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will have Pete and Tim battling it out in the arena that is Worstest. I'll be right back. And welcome back. Without further delay, let us go into the part 2.
John, I don't relish making a decision between these two. This is going to be a rough one, I think.
Well, I'm going to make it as bad as I can for you guys. So,
Pete, what do you got on the second half of your...
of more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. In an attempt to substantiate the More Doctors claim, R.J. Reynolds paid for surveys to be conducted during medical conventions using 2 survey methods. Doctors were gifted free packs of Camel cigarettes at tobacco company booths, and then upon exiting the exhibit hall, they were immediately asked, 1, to indicate their favorite brand, or 2, were asked which cigarette they carried in their pocket. So just to remind you, which they repeated in this ad, that yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey.
Oh, this was the survey.
This was the survey.
at these conventions.
It was this BS of handing out these packs of cigarettes to
And then
doctors
saying,
at medical conventions.
What cigarettes do you have in your pocket? Well, Camels? Oh.
Yes, we just gave them to you.
Doctors always have packets of Camels in their pocket.
So yeah, so that's my little extra.
So you're saying the books were cooked here is kind of is what you're saying.
Believe it or not, the nationwide survey may not have been all it seemed.
Well, it was a survey of sorts.
Right.
Just not what they were they surveyed one thing and they reported another thing, and the only thing it had in common was Camel cigarettes.
Right.
Well, all right. So that's a very interesting little dollop of cream on top of a big turdish cupcake. Tim, how do you want to slap icing on your scathing indictment against capitalism?
All right. Well, the cherry on top of my anti-capitalist sundae is how countries like France or Denmark or Germany or Italy would counter this commercial. First of all, I don't think I need to see any poll numbers. I'm fairly certain that a minimum 95% of people in France wouldn't trade their culture, their way of life with ours. No chance. And I would be absolutely positive that there would be at least a third or more of Americans, probably more, who would certainly take the kind of culture they have in Europe.
And
Longer vacation
I'm sorry.
times. Yeah.
And how many Cadillacs do they have over there in France?
Exactly. Well, it's funny you should say that, Pete, because on the few occasions I have been in Europe, most recently in Denmark, it is an absolutely lovely country. I absolutely loved Copenhagen. It is now one of my favorite cities. It was clean. It was safe. People were polite. You could walk places. Their mass transit worked. They bike everywhere. They bike to work the way
I was
we
in
drive
Amsterdam
to work.
a few years ago. Beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
place. Bikes running crazy.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful
and
place.
amazing air quality.
Yeah.
You know, like the lower the number, the better the air quality. 100 being don't go outside. 0 being Garden of Eden. I think Amsterdam's was 2. 2. Right? It's because they don't drive everywhere.
Yeah.
So they have a really good quality of life. And, I know the American counter argument to that. Yeah, they pay a lot of high taxes. Yeah, but look what they get for their taxes. They have health care that's paid for. No one goes bankrupt, right? Because they don't have health insurance. Or actually, they do have health insurance and go bankrupt anyway. Yeah, that's a thing in America. They have schools that are very affordable, universities that are largely paid for and subsidized. And yeah, they pay high taxes, but the people I saw there were going out. They dressed well, they ate well, they were having fun. They had a lot of time off. This was the summer.
Last time I checked with my accountant, I wasn't skating by with the low tax rate.
Yeah. I mean, look, these exactly. And not like we're paying no taxes here in America, especially in the East Coast. Our property taxes are enormous.
That's the other thing. Because I've read a thing where income taxes are lower, but they don't have in Britain anyway.
Yes,
they
that's
don't
right.
have property tax.
Yep. I asked the guy from Scotland about that. I said, I know you guys pay more in taxes than we do. Do you have property taxes? And just like you said, John, he says, no, I don't know. No, we don't have that at all.
Yeah.
I said, well, I think at the time we owned a home, and I don't know what it was at the time, maybe $13,000 a year, which, on Long Island would not be terrible anymore.
No,
he was shocked by that.
Other people in the country are going to drop the.
Oh,
you know
sure.
what? Not even anymore. Florida's getting up there. North Carolina's getting up there.
Yeah.
People are going to be shocked at that number in some parts of the country, but it's more and more increasingly, it's not shocking.
Right.
And it's not just income taxes, all these other taxes on top of it. And I don't know if
I got one bathroom.
if they pay double taxes like we do here, you pay a state tax and a federal
state,
tax.
Exactly. I was just going to say, local taxes, we pay multiple levels of government, which
Right.
most of those countries don't have that. They have
Sales
more of a
taxes.
unitary system. Yeah. So if you add up all the taxes we pay, especially in this part of the country, it's probably more than half our net income.
Yeah.
Way more.
And we're not getting free healthcare. We're not getting free university. Our roads they're certainly not envious. People in Europe have much better roads than we do here. So again, they're just pulling the wool over our eyes,
But
work
they
longer, work harder. You'll get all this great stuff.
They ain't free though.
Right.
We got freedom.
Right, yeah, exactly. And that's another thing that everyone thinks, that somehow we're the freest country in the world. Well, there's no time to go into that.
Yeah,
But I felt pretty free to do what I wanted in Copenhagen.
A jaundice Tim
Yeah.
is an exciting Tim as far as I'm concerned. I love it. Is that the end? Are you done?
That's the end.
Are you
I'm done. Yeah.
All right. Very well done. Very well done. Gentlemen, Scott, you and I have quite a task. Both are scathing indictments.
I know. This may be the hardest final I can remember.
And maybe the closest. They're two very different commercials, but yet they both have the same ulcerous, cancerous black heart beating the same congealed opposite of holy water fluid out from it to a bunch of gangrenous limbs.
That have been detached from their body.
Yeah.
Well, where do we find the comparison? We have a product that leads to the diseases of the body, and then on Tim's side, I almost feel like it's a disease of the mind,
Of the soul.
and the heart. Thinking that doctors doctored the results of their studies, not that surprising. I don't know if anybody.
Hold on. I don't think the doctors doctored the results.
No.
It was the cigarette companies giving Camel cigarettes to doctors, and then as they walked out, they were asked, "Hey, what brand cigarette do you have
In your pocket.
in your pocket?" It was the doctor. I don't think the doctors. I think the doctors were not part of that whole.
Well, I guess you're right. That was a slight misrepresentation. I was thinking a little bit more along the lines that we know that tobacco companies were employing physicians for a long time to study this, and the real story just wasn't getting out. And just a quick side note: I don't know if anybody knows any physicians closely, but what Pete described as far as going to these conventions, these meetings, sitting down for a dinner with a drug rep, a room full of like a back room of a restaurant.
I'm friends with a lot of drug reps.
Basically free meals, all the booze you can drink, cigars. They'll truck in some people to throw up some pie charts like you might see in the Senate about why this drug is better. You're going to prescribe some more of this, right? After you've just eaten like a T-bone, okay? And, drank 3 bottles of wine. They got it pretty good over there. It's rather convincing after a full stomach that, sure, I'll pop some pills to some
You're
people.
also going to get a whole giant free supply of those pills,
Yes,
too.
of course.
Yeah.
Hey, they work hard. They make their own luck, Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
They all drive Cadillacs.
They probably do.
But I would say...
Probably more like BMW.
Yeah, they're not. That's the other thing. A Cadillac is,
It's become what's the word? Almost an anachronism for luxury now.
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
hasn't in a long time.
Right.
Different generations would see it that way, not the new generations.
No, actually, Cadillac has worked very hard in the past 10, 15, 20 years. Their performance side, they have some pretty great performance cars.
Right.
And some of them are the only ones you can get with sticks, with manual transmissions.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you're feeling triggered by that, Tim. His manual transmission car died in the middle of New Jersey yesterday. Maybe because we were talking so badly about New Jersey in the last episode. Maybe Jersey's getting back at you.
Maybe it is. I
Right.
said New Jersey got a bad rap. It's just that one part of New Jersey. It's Fort Lee. I mean,
Maybe it didn't need your goddamn
any more
cursing the
cars.
devils.
Yes. you're
Yeah,
cursing
you know what? The Devils
you cursed
probably
the
don't play too
Devils.
far from there.
You
yeah.
cursed the New
Yeah.
Jersey Devils.
There you go.
Man.
Oh my God!
Where's
The
the
Jersey
credentials?
Devil got you yesterday.
I think he did.
It was the Jersey Devil's revenge.
He did.
On you hating the Jersey Devils.
Yeah, he got into the clutch and he just ripped it up.
The clutch is only 2 years old, right?
Yeah.
Dude, you got deviled.
I did. I got deviled.
You got Jersey Deviled.
Oh, man. That explains everything.
Crawling cryptids, Batman.
You got to ask the mechanic to see the inside of that clutch.
It's all claw marks on it. I've never seen anything like this before.
It's like a Jersey Devil got in there. Hey, wait a minute. You didn't badmouth the Jersey Devil. Old Lady Leeds has got her eye on you, boy.
You remember that, Mother Leeds.
Sure, Ben Franklin's been effing with. You're going to be putting Poor Richard's almanac as a dead guy. If you're not already from the Jersey Devil.
That explains everything.
We quite possibly just went off topic here.
But it was fun.
It was a good time. So, Scott, I not to. So, are you? I don't know. I actually don't know where you're going with this. I usually acquiesce.
Well, so here's how I'm feeling. That the misinformation being shared on Pete's side clearly negatively impacts people. Convincing people to smoke is not beneficial. But we have this other set of misinformation, and I don't know what the cancer rates are in this country currently, but I know a lot more people are being economically hosed right now than ever before. We're talking well over 100, 150, 170 million people that have bought into this vision, and that's the bigger impact. So I'm very much looking in Tim's corner at this moment.
What has been canonized in Tim's commercial is why we are having a downfall of our society right now.
Grab for that brass ring, but just know this, it's been electrified.
And it's not tied to anything. So when you grab it, you're going to fall disastrously to the ground. So with that said,
I think we...
have
we settled?
I think we have settled. I think the worst commercial is the Cadillac by the poolside.
Sure. Cadillac by the poolside. We'll call it that.
If only that Cadillac fell in the pool. If only got Keith mooned, and maybe all our problems would be done. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have a winner. Worstest commercial. Cadillac. What was it, Tim?
Cadillac poolside commercial.
Cadillac by the poolside wasn't, but
Not too far off.
it's not really by the poolside. There's no
Or
proximity
yeah.
to the. But there we go. Tim is the winner of this week's episode, Worst Commercial. If you enjoyed yourself, and of course you did, please remember to like, share, subscribe, share this with other people, send a link, instead of just telling people about it, give the link to us. Spread the word. I really appreciate it. I was checking the international stats. We have people listening to us in France, in Germany, Indonesia. Welcome aboard. The Czech Republic. Now that we're done with all that part, let's cleanse our palate from the horrors of capitalism and commercialism, and let's do a little bestest. Who wants to do a bestest first?
We'll go. This
Pete,
is
go.
Pete, and hello out there to all you fabulous world dwellers, wherever you may be, even though you're not on the same time frame as us. We're glad to have you. I would like to say, and I don't think I've mentioned this yet, that my youngest daughter is in her junior year of college, and she's got accepted to do a semester in Salzburg, Austria.
Oh my
Wow,
gosh,
that's
that's
great.
amazing.
That's awesome.
Pretty excited about that. Yeah, so that's going to happen next semester, and I'm very happy for her and looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
Congrats,
Nice.
Daddy.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Scott, what do you got?
I'm taking a left turn here. Sometimes I worry more about my bestest commentary than I do my actual submission for the episode. But
not a bad thing.
I want to do something very different. So I have fallen in love with this song recently, and I just can't stop listening to it. I got the melody in my head right now. So I'm not sure if anyone's ever heard of the Canadian, they sort of called a punk band. They're called Pup, P-U-P. Sorry for any plosives that are happening right now.
I don't know.
They're very cool. Okay, their debut album came out in 2013. And my prior favorite song of theirs, I didn't realize was actually on the same release, the debut. The song that I've been just rocking and headbanging to, even at work today, is a song called Cul-de-sac. So if you like some music with some energy, these fine young Canadian lads are definitely worth listening to. So check them out.
Pup Cul-de-sac.
Yes.
Okay.
Pup is the band, Cul-de-sac is the song. Check it out.
Nice.
Very cool. Tim, what do you got?
Well, my wife and I visited our daughter in college in Pennsylvania over the weekend. That was before we had the debacle with the car.
And the devil.
Yes, and the Jersey Devil. And she had a wonderful orchestra concert. We had a nice dinner with her. She's doing excellent. She's doing very well. She's happy, and we are happy that she is happy. And I have to throw in there another running story. I ran a cross-country race at the VA hospital on Saturday morning. And out of 194 runners, I finished in 12th.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, it was a 4K, but it was on a golf course, so it was grass, undulating hills. Wow. It was tough. That's about 2.5 miles, but it was a tough 2.5 miles.
Dudes in bright green pants.
Oh, they weren't there. No, they teed off later. That's probably a good idea.
They would have been teed off if you were there.
Yeah. And a funny story, a kid who just beat me in the Cow Harbor race last year, at the last second, he scooted right in front of me. And
Sons of bitches.
No, he was I don't know him at all, but I think he's 12. And I looked his name up. I'm like, oh, that's the kid who just passed me at the last second. This kid was running ahead of me the whole race, and he beat me by another 10, 15 seconds. I'm like, I think it's the same kid. Sure enough, I looked it up. It's the same kid.
He's trolling you.
Yeah, well, he's got my number. He's just a little faster than I am.
Now that's your new goal. So next bestest that we do, you will tell us how you beat him.
Uh-huh.
and ran faster than him
Well,
too.
I don't know. He's pretty good. Yeah. he's a
Hey,
budding.
mister, what do you do? Ow! Ow, what do
I
you
don't
do?
know. He's a budding superstar. I'll tell you that.
No, you, sir. You are a budding superstar.
thank you,
Well, then
sir.
you're 10 seconds behind a budding superstar. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That might be my bestest. That Tim is only 10 seconds behind a budding superstar. Mine is, it's funny. Last week, Tim and I had 2 bestest improv things, and Scott and I both have bestest music things. I went back. I had this little brain bug. I was a big fan of this band, The Vapors. Everyone knows them for Turning Japanese. Everyone knows Turning Japanese. That was on their first album. Their second album is much darker.
You've talked about this before,
Yeah.
way back in the day.
Yeah, and I kind of revisited it. It's on Spotify.
I think Nuclear Days was the first one, right?
Yes, and Magnets is the second
Right,
one.
right.
And it's a concept album about how people are magnets for any type of people, but this particular story is about a head of state who is a magnet for a killer, an assassin. And it basically tells the story of the persons, of the eventual assassins kind of breaking down mentally. And the last song is very much like Peter Gabriel's Family Snapshot, which is also the same kind of thing. Someone up on a roof with a gun, and that's a very arresting song. And as is this. So the last song on the album is called Magnets. It's such a good song. The whole album is very good, but that song Magnets in particular is fantastic. I've re-listened to it and I love it, and you should too. And with that, let us flee away. You now are filled with good feeling stories from Pete and Tim. You're filled with your whatever music thing that you use. You now can listen to pop, Cul-de-sac, or The Vapors, Jimmy Jones.
Could be a
and
thimble,
Magnets.
could be a beaker.
It could be whatever you want, man. But whatever it is, please go forth and have a lovely time, and know that the worst commercial is the Cadillac and poolside commercial. Enjoy your beautiful selves. Goodbye, everybody.
See y'all. Have
Take
a
care,
good one.
folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.